Hey, everyone, Sukuna is literally slicing through everyone and wreaking havoc on the Jujutsu Kaisen cast. You might not realize how many victims he's claimed throughout the series. Today, I'm going to show a video presenting all the characters Sukuna has killed so far, starting from the very first episode. In that episode, we saw Sukuna being summoned for the first time by possessing Itadori's body to save everyone. At that moment, he killed his first victim, which was a curse. Yes, I'll be counting curses too. So, Sukuna's first victim was this curse. But if you're following the death count, it already shows that Sukuna had killed someone before. That's because, much later, we learn that Sukuna killed his brother while still in their mother's womb. So, even before he was born, Sukuna had started his death tally. He killed his brother, who, despite being a baby with the potential to become a powerful sorcerer, was still just a civilian. Stay tuned for the video to see all his atrocities so far. And of course, if you already like this video's topic and want to receive more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can be part of our ever-growing community. Following the story, Sukuna was quietly residing in Itadori's body until Itadori was sent on a somewhat dangerous mission, where a special grade curse appeared. At that moment, Itadori decided to summon the King of Curses, Sukuna, to eliminate this threat. Sukuna not only eliminated the special grade curse, but also tried to strike a deal with Itadori, which didn't work out. For now, Sukuna is positive on the kill count, killing more curses than civilians. It's worth noting that he tried to kill Itadori and Megumi, but since those were only attempts and didn't materialize, I won't count those actions. However, Sukuna also destroyed Orochi, one of Megumi's Shikigami. Since Orochi is a Shikigami that can only be summoned once and was destroyed, I'll consider this as another curse destroyed by Sukuna, further increasing the King of Curses tally. Sukuna's victim list is growing, including both curses and other powerful creatures, showing he's really not messing around. After the disaster of willingly summoning Sukuna, Itadori learned his lesson and never summoned him consciously again. This only happened again in Shibuya, when Itadori was forced and wasn't even conscious, allowing Sukuna to resurface. From that point, Sukuna's victim count skyrocketed. Upon awakening, Sukuna killed 2 sorcerers, Nanako and Mimiko, his first sorcerer victims. After this little massacre, he fought Jogo, who also met his end at the hands of the King of Curses. Next, Sukuna faced one of the most powerful curses in Jujutsu Kaisen, the Shikigami Maharaga. This colossal fight resulted in mass destruction, and Sukuna ended up defeating Maharaga. However, unlike Orochi, which is Megumi's Shikigami, Maharaga wasn't completely dominated and, therefore, can be summoned again. So, I won't count Maharaga as a definitive Sukuna kill. During this fight, Sukuna used his domain expansion, resulting in the deaths of approximately 3,000 civilians. With this technique alone, the victim count skyrocketed absurdly. It was truly a devastating feat by Sukuna, killing thousands of people at once. At the end of this fight, Sukuna also killed another sorcerer, Haruta. This was perhaps the most celebrated death by fans, as I haven't seen anyone who liked this character. Other deaths that could be attributed to Sukuna are those resulting from Jogo's meteor. Among the victims were 2 former associates of Suguru Geto. Although we aren't 100% sure, it's very likely they died. However, since it was Jogo's meteor that caused these deaths, despite Sukuna's significant help in ensuring the meteor hit these people, I won't count these deaths for Sukuna. I'll leave that to Jogo, as Sukuna's victim count is already quite high. Moving forward in the story to when Sukuna finally starts putting his plan into action and swaps bodies with Megumi. Right away, he makes a new murder attempt, trying to kill Angel, who is saved by Amai. Later, when Sukuna realizes he has good control over Megumi's body, he decides to face another sorcerer, Megumi's sister, who was under the control of Yorozu. Arriving in Sendai, where Yorozu was, Sukuna encounters a very powerful sorcerer, Ryu. Despite Ryu's strength, the fight didn't last long, and he was killed almost instantly, once again increasing the count of sorcerer deaths by Sukuna. Immediately after, he also kills Yorozu, adding another death to his list. After this sequence, Sukuna started his spree but paused the killings for about a month, during which Satoru Gojo returned and began his preparations. We also have Sukuna preparing for his fight against Satoru Gojo, who incidentally is the next on this list. Many fans were saddened because Satoru ended up being killed by Sukuna in a blow that cut him in half. Unless, in the next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, which you can follow here on the channel, so subscribe to not miss it. Satoru is revealed to be alive. This will be the reality. Satoru was the first of several deaths that occurred in this same fight. After him came Hajime, who also tried to face Sukuna head-on. Unfortunately, Hajime, who was a very powerful sorcerer, ended up being killed quickly, once again showing the lethality of the King of Curses. Next, more people appeared to face Sukuna with a highlight on Higuruma. Sukuna recognized the power and talent of Higuruma, who grew very quickly during his brief fight against the King of Curses. However, this wasn't enough to last more than a few chapters, and Higuruma ended up dying quickly after receiving a fatal blow to the chest and losing his arms. The next on the list was another special grade sorcerer, Yuta Okatsu, who gave Sukuna a lot of trouble. Yuta managed to land his domain technique on the King of Curses, causing considerable damage. He almost defeated Sukuna if the plan to regain control of Megumi's body had worked. But it didn't, and Sukuna turned the tables, cutting Yuta in half. Fortunately, Yuta was quickly rescued by Rika and teleported by Ui, thus escaping imminent death. In my opinion, among the three who have died so far, Yuta is the one with the greatest chance of surviving. This is due to how quickly he was rescued. Although we don't know exactly what happened to him, I suspect he might have survived. However, since we're not sure, I'll give Sukuna credit and count this death. Next, Maki, Miguel, and Ui appear. Sukuna didn't manage to kill any of them, but he had a one-on-one fight with Kusakabe, managing to inflict 2 deep cuts on his chest. We didn't see what happened to Kusakabe after that, but I believe he has a good chance of surviving his fight against Sukuna. After all, he wasn't cut in half, and among the wounded, Kusakabe had the least severe injuries. Therefore, I believe he has the best chance of surviving. Before his last caused death, he faced Hino, a cursed spirit summoner. Sukuna destroyed 2 of these spirits, which seems to indicate that Hino will no longer be able to summon them. Therefore, I'll count 2 more curses killed by Sukuna. Finally, we come to the most painful death for Jujutsu Kaisen fans, our beloved Choso, who was killed by Sukuna. This was one of the most heartbreaking deaths in the entire story, and it's certain, absolutely certain, that Choso is dead. Not even dust was left of him after the powerful fire attack. More than ever, this is a definitive death. Therefore, we add another count for the King of Curses. These are all the deaths caused by Sukuna so far. And of course, this doesn't consider everything he did during the King era, where we don't have specific knowledge but are sure he caused many deaths at that time. Therefore, this count, although absurd, is certainly higher than what was presented here. I only counted the deaths that were shown, and I'm sure there's much more beyond that. If you remember other deaths or have any opinions on the matter, share them in the comments below. Thanks for following along, and see you in the next video. See you later.